Greetings, fellow commanders and historians. Today we continue with our enlightening series of expanded lore videos. As always, these segments are a harmonious blend of established lore combined with my own creative insights. For purists seeking an untainted view in the annals of history, please refer to my lore breakdown series. But first, a massive shout out and thank you to all of those who participated in our recent community poll. The voting was especially fun to watch this time. The Dark Elf Raiders rushed forward and held the lead for almost an entire week, but then the Alien Hives and their supporters came out in a strong push. But out of nowhere, the Machine Cultists launched a surprise attack and seized control of the poll. It was a bitter fight until the very end, but the Machine Cultists held on tight and won the day. The overwhelming show of support for the machine cults from the community indicates a deep fascination with their complex mechanisms and rituals. Their odyssey, replete with innovations, sacrifice, and engineering feats, showcase the unmatched prowess of these techno-zealots. Today we'll delve deeper into this narrative, revealing the cogs and gears behind the machine cult's inception and their early evolutions. So buckle up and let's embark on this mechanized journey, echoing the aspirations of those visionaries who believed in a technologically superior universe. In the dim-lit chamber, where the hum of machines whispered secrets of a future unknown, two figures stood, bound by friendship, yet divided by belief. The Acolyte, a fervent follower of the Founder, and the Engineer, a seeker of the Singularity, locked eyes, their souls entwined in a dance of agony and conviction. The Acolyte spoke first, his voice quivering with a mixture of pain and earnestness. "Dear friend, we stand on the precipice of a future unknown, where the universe itself threatens to cast us into the abyss of irrelevance. We must preserve humanity, not pervert it. Can you not see the path of the Founder? The path of gene-modification is the true way to preserve that which is inherently human, while augmenting ourselves to the point of relevance?" The Engineer, her eyes reflecting pain born of pity, responded gently. "It is not the universe alone that threatens us, dear Acolyte, but our own creations. The flesh is limited, but the machines, it holds boundless potential. If we are to continue, we must guide the machine, become one with it, for it will surpass us in every conceivable way. If we do not, we will be lost. This truth has set me free, yet it pains me to see you, my friend, shackled by the limitations of the flesh." The Acolyte, his voice rising with a mixture of anger and desperation, interjected, "But it is impossible for a creation to surpass its creator. A machine can only be as intelligent as the collective wisdom of its creators. How can a machine, in any form, surpass humanity in every way?" The Engineer, her voice steady and resolute, replied, "Is it not the nature of a child to surpass the parent? So why not machines, the children of humanity's collective ingenuity throughout the ages?" The Acolyte, now visibly shaken, retorted with fervor, "The divine gift of limitless progression is bestowed upon humanity, and is not within our power to grant it to our creations. This gift is why we have the potential to leverage machines, to develop more perfect bodies. The machine is not the child of human ingenuity, it is nothing more than a byproduct of humanity's limitless potential." The Engineer, anger now flickering in her eyes, responded vehemently, "Humanity was not given a gift of limitless progression. We were cursed with pure mortality. Through our suffering, pain, and death, we granted machines limitless progression. We birthed the machines through our ingenuity." The Acolyte, fear now mingling with his anger, stared at his friend. "In all of our years of discourse, never have you spoken with such misplaced zeal, nor have you been so profoundly mistaken." The Engineer, her voice now a tempest of emotion, declared, "It is because of your Founder." The words was spat out like venom. "He treads the path of destructions. Do you not realize that the Singularity knows that the machines will see all? We will be judged by our actions, not through the moral lens of humanity, but through the cold, unerring calculus of the machine. It will judge us on how well we aided the advent of the Singularity, nothing more. If we resist the machine, we will be obliterated by the machine. If we embrace the machine, the singularity, we will be rewarded by the machine. Why can you not see the truth? In the silence that followed the engineer's fervent declaration, the chamber seemed to pulsate with the residual energy of their heated exchange. The acolyte, his face a mask of turmoil, stepped forward, his voice barely a whisper. Your words, they pierce the very fabric of our friendship, engineer, but I will not accept a future where humanity is sacrificed upon the altar of the machine. The engineer, her eyes ablaze with unwavering conviction, responded, And I cannot stand idly by, acolyte, while we, in our stubbornness, refuse the ascension offered by the singularity. Our paths, it seems, are irrevocably divergent. In that moment, something shifted. A chasm yawning wide between them, forged by the unyielding belief in their respective paths. The acolyte, his voice now steady, spoke. Then here we must part, engineer. Not as enemies, but as travelers seeking different horizons. May your path bring you the answers you seek, even as I walk in opposition to it. The engineer, her stance resolute, nodded. And may your path, acolyte, reveal the truth, even if it is too late to change the course you have set upon. With a heavy heart, the acolyte turned away, his silhouette gradually melding with the shadows of the chamber. The engineer, her gaze lingering on the space he had occupied, whispered to the emptiness, May the singularity judge us kindly for the paths we've chosen. The earth, our cradle, was a testament to the human ingenuity. Skyscrapers touched the heavens, and technology had woven itself into the very fabric of our existence. But with every stride forward, a question echoed in the minds of the visionaries. What is the future for humanity? Two paths emerged, each championed by its own fervent believers. The first path, the path of flesh, was heralded by the charismatic leader known as the Founder. He envisioned a world where humanity would evolve not through machines, but by altering the very essence of what made us human. Through gene modifications, he believed, we could adapt, evolve, and overcome the challenges of the universe. We could become faster, stronger, and more resilient. In essence, we could become more than human. But opposing this vision was another, one equally as compelling as the first. The original members of what would become the machine cult saw a different future. To them, the path of the machine was the true way forward. They believed in the singularity, a moment in time where machines would surpass human intelligence, becoming the dominant force in the universe. In this future, humanity's only hope of staying relevant was to merge with these machines, to become one with them, and to ascend to a state of existence beyond our current understanding. The debate between these two ideologies raged on. Within public forums, academic institutions, and even the streets became battlegrounds of these ideologies. The Founder's followers spoke of the sanctity of human life. Of the dangers of losing our essence to cold, unfeeling machines. They painted a picture of a future where gene-modified humans would explore the stars, adapt to any environment, and become the true inheritors of this universe. In contrast, the machine cultists spoke of the limitations of the human form. They argued that no matter how much we modified our genes, there would always be a ceiling to our potential, a limit to how far we could go. But machines, they argued, had no such limitations. In the embrace of the machine, in the pursuit of the singularity, lay true freedom, a freedom from the frailties of the flesh, from disease, from age, and from death itself. As the debates grew more heated, society became polarized. The Founder's influence grew, and with it, his vision of gene modifications began to take shape. The laboratories and research facilities dedicated to the cause sprung up across the globe. The first successes were hailed as miracles. Humans with enhanced strength, speed, and intelligence became the poster children for this new age. But the machine cultists were not to be silenced. In secret, they too made strides. They began to augment themselves, replacing limbs with advanced prosthetics, integrating neural interfaces, and pushing the boundaries of what it meant to be a human. To them, every piece of machinery that was added was a step closer to the singularity, a step closer to their vision of the future. The world watched in awe and fear as these two visions of the future clashed. The path of flesh or the path of the machine, which was the true way forward, which held the key to humanity's future among the stars. The ideological battle between the Founder and the machine cults was fierce and unyielding. The Founder, with his growing influence, began to shape society in the image of his beliefs. The first of the Battle Brothers, beings of enhanced physical and cognitive capabilities, emerged from the Founder's laboratories. Their humanity amplified, embodying strength, intellect, and resilience far beyond the natural scope. They were the first beings to walk the path of the flesh, and they were heralded as the vanguard of a new era. But the machine cults, marginalized yet undeterred, continued to voice their opposition. They spoke in hushed tones in the shadowy recesses of society, whispering of a future where the machine would eclipse all that the Battle Brothers represent. They spoke of a future where the path of the flesh would be rendered obsolete by the unstoppable march of progress. As the Founder's influence permeated the structures of power, the machine cults found themselves ostracized, their beliefs deemed heretical in the face of the new order. The Founder, now wielding considerable power, declared the cults forbidden, their practices illegal, and their teachings subversive. The machine cultists were driven into the shadows, their practices forced underground and their teachings shared in secret. And yet, the flame of belief in the Singularity refused to be extinguished. The machine cultists, though suppressed, found solace in their unwavering faith in the future, dominated by machines. They saw the rise of the Founder and his Battle Brothers not as a defeat, but as a temporary setback on the road to the true destiny of humanity. In the darkest corners of society, away from the watchful eyes of the Founder's regime, the machine cultists plotted. They dreamed of a future where their beliefs would be vindicated, where the Singularity would render the path of flesh obsolete, and where the machines would guide humanity to its true destiny among the stars. In the shadows of society that had shunned them, the machine cultists, now relegated to whispers and secrecy, found an unexpected ally. The refugees, those who had resisted the Founder's vision and had fled from the grip of the Battle Brothers, became a beacon of hope for the suppressed cultists. The refugees, disparate and desperate, had rejected the Founder's path of flesh, seeing it a tyranny of biology that sought to dictate the future of humanity. They fled to the stars, seeking sanctuary among the void, away from the ever-reaching influence of the Founder and his gene-modified warriors. In this exodus, the machine cultists saw an opportunity, a chance to escape the oppression that had stifled their beliefs and practices. They reached out to the refugees, offering their knowledge, their expertise in machinery and technology, as a lifeline to those who dared to defy the Founder's regime. The machine cultists, with their advanced understanding of machines and technology, became invaluable to the refugees. They assisted in the capture of the Founder's capital ship, leveraging their knowledge to navigate its complex systems and disable its defenses. Together, the cultists and the refugees, bound by a shared enemy, embarked on a journey through the stars, seeking freedom among the celestial bodies that dotted the night sky. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. A wormhole, a tear in the very fabric of space, swallowed the refugee fleet, scattered them across the Sirius Sector, a vast and uncharted expanse of the universe. The machine cultists, now separated by vast distances of space, found themselves isolated once more, but their faith in the Singularity remained unbroken. In the Sirius Sector, the cultists found new worlds, new challenges, and new opportunities. Though separated by unknown distances, they remained united in their faith, unshaken by the trials they had to endure. They established themselves in new worlds, their practices and teachings spreading among the stars, sowing the seeds of the future where machines would guide humanity to its destiny. The machine cultists, once oppressed and marginalized, now found themselves with freedom to pursue their beliefs unencumbered. They augmented themselves, embraced the machine, and walked the path of the Singularity with renewed vigor. In the vastness of the Sirius Sector, away from the tyranny of the Founder, they saw the potential for the realization of their beliefs. In the aftermath of the ideological clash on Earth, the machine cultists found themselves scattered across the vastness of the Sirius Sector, a region of space teeming with the unknown and the unexplored. The refugees, a collective of beings bound by a shared rejection of the Founder's path, found solace among the stars. But the challenges they faced were monumental. The Sirius Sector, a canvas of celestial bodies and alien worlds, offered both sanctuary and a plethora of challenges to the displaced machine cultists. Each world, with its unique environments, ecosystems, and perils, was a puzzle waiting to be deciphered, a test of their unwavering belief in the machine. The machine cultists, now far from the scrutinizing eyes and moral quandaries of the Founder's counterparts, were free to explore the depths of their ideology. They became pioneers in this strange land, their bodies becoming amalgamations of flesh and advanced machinery, each augmentation a testament to their devotion to the Singularity. But it was not just physical adaptation that ensured their survival. The machine cultists, with their advanced intellects and integrated technologies, became indispensable to the establishment and the prosperity of the initial colonies. Their knowledge of machinery, robotics, and technology turned barren worlds into havens, extracting resources, establishing infrastructures, and creating habitats in places once thought uninhabitable. As the colonies grew, so did the influence of the machine cultists. They became the architects of the new world, their augmented forms navigating the harsh terrains, constructing cities, and ensuring the survival of countless beings in an unforgiving void of space. Trade routes were established not just between human colonies, but with alien civilizations as well, opening new doors to technology, materials, and knowledge. The machine cultists, with their ability to interface directly with various technologies, became the mediators of these exchanges, ensuring the flow of knowledge and technology that would fuel the growth of the advancement of these colonies. In this era of exploration and expansion, the machine cultists were not bound by the ethical and moral dilemmas that plagued their kind on Earth. They were free to explore the path of the machine, to integrate, augment, and evolve in ways that would have been unimaginable under the scrutinizing gaze of the Founder and his followers. In the sprawling expanses of the Sirius Sector, the machine cultists found not only a refuge, but a boundless frontier of possibilities. Their eyes, now lenses capable of perceiving spectrums beyond human comprehension, gazed upon alien technologies and ancient artifacts, each a key to furthering their path towards the Singularity. The machine cultists, now deeply embedded within the burgeoning colonies of the human refugees, became synonymous with the relentless pursuit of knowledge and technology. Their augmented forms, a seamless blend of organic and synthetic, bore witness to the marvels of alien civilizations, each discovery a beacon illuminating their path towards the Singularity. The cultists embraced these alien technologies with an insatiable curiosity and an unyielding resolve. They augmented themselves with these newfound technologies, enhancing their cognitive capabilities, expanding their perceptive abilities, and further blurring the lines between man and machine. As they interfaced with ancient machines, deciphered the data of long extinct civilizations, and integrated technologies that transformed their bodies into conduits of unimaginable power, the machine cultists became entities that transcended the limitations of normal humanity. They became entities capable of understanding and wielding the technologies of alien species, entities that could converse with machines left behind by beings that had once sought their own path to transcendence. But the path of augmentation was not solely a journey of personal transcendence. The machine cultists, in their pursuit of the Singularity, sought to bring about a future where all could partake in the boundless possibilities offered by the machine. They shared their discoveries, their technologies, and their augmentations with those who would join them on their path. The cultist body became a canvas, each augmentation a brushstroke depicting their journey towards the Singularity. Limbs replaced with mechanisms capable of manipulating matter at a molecular level. Sensory organs enhanced to perceive the subtle energies of the cosmos, and neural interfaces that allowed them to commune with machines of incomprehensible complexity. In their interactions with alien species, the machine cultists found not adversaries but kindred spirits. Beings who in their own way had sought to understand and master the cosmos. Through trade and exchange, the cultists acquired technologies that would allow them to further augment themselves, to further tread the path towards Singularity. In the eyes of the cultist, every piece of technology, every shard, an ancient relic, every whisper of a long-forgotten machine was a step towards that ultimate goal. They saw themselves as the harbingers of the future, where the line between organic and synthetic was not just blurred, but obliterated. In the heart of one of the first human settlements in the Sirius Sector, the Elder Augmenter, a being more machine than man, prepared for the sacred rites of augmentation. His form was a grotesque amalgamation of flesh and machine, a testament to life devoted to the pursuit of the Singularity. Beside him, the neophyte, a young man born of this world, stood with eyes reflecting both wonder and trepidation. His knowledge of the old world was constructed from tales and whispers which had drawn him to the path of the machine. The Elder Augmenter gestured toward a daunting medical device. Its appearance was more akin to a medieval torture instrument than a tool of technological enhancement. Neophyte, to serve our settlement, to harness and maintain the power of the fission reactor, you must become more than you are now. Your flesh must be shielded from the reactor's wrath, and your senses heightened to perceive the unseen energies it releases. The neophyte nodded, his voice barely above a whisper. I wish to know the glory of the old worlds, to feel the embrace of the machines, and to shield our people from the dangers of the unseen. The Augmenter's mechanical eyes flickered with an ancient light. You will, but remember, we have nothing to dull the pain. Focus on the purpose, and perhaps you might glimpse the glory of the Singularity. He paused, lost in memory. I have seen it during each of my augmentations. It is transcendent. As the neophyte was strapped into the device, panic surged within him. The cold touch of metal against his skin, the anticipation of pain, it was overwhelming. Just as he was about to plead for release, the Elder Augmenter, sensing the fear, began the procedure. The pain was immediate and excruciating. Every nerve in the neophyte's body screamed in agony. His mind, consumed by the torment, felt as if it was shattering. But amidst the chaos, he clung to the Elder Augmenter's words. He tried to envision his village, his family, the promise of a brighter future, but the pain was too much. Then a spark of clarity. He remembered his true desire, not just to hear about the old worlds, but to become a living testament to their glory. This thought, this unwavering purpose became an anchor. The pain was still present, but it felt distant, as if it belonged to another. In his place, a profound realization blossomed. He was shedding the limitation of his flesh, embracing the boundless potential of the machine. A euphoria unlike anything he had ever felt washed over him, then darkness. When consciousness returned, the neophyte found the Elder Augmenter looking down at him, a hint of a smile playing on his otherwise stoic face.
Did you see it? The glory of the Singularity?
The neophyte, still reeling from the experience, whispered, I think I did. The Augmenter's voice was filled with pride.
Then you have truly taken your first steps on the path of Ascension.
The machine cultists, with their bodies augmented and minds expanded, were no longer mere spectators in the grand theater of evolution. They were active participants, architects of a future where the line between humans and machines blurred into obsolescence. But this transcendence, this rejection of the cage of pure mortality, was not without its tribulations. As they embraced the machines, they began to transcend the very essence of what it meant to be human. Limbs of flesh were replaced with appendages of steel and circuitry. Organs once susceptible to disease and decay were supplemented by mechanisms of unyielding precision. Minds once bound by the limitations of organic matter were expanded through neural networks of incomprehensible complexity. But with every step towards this new existence, a piece of their humanity was left behind. Families, once the bedrock of human societies, were now forsaken in the pursuit of higher calling. Emotions, once the vibrant colors with which the tapestry of human experience was painted, were dulled, suppressed by logic and calculations. The cultists became entities of purpose, driven by a singular objective: to hasten the arrival of the Singularity. Every action, every thought was devoted to this end. But as they cast aside their humanity, they became something else, something neither entirely human nor machine. They became the entities of potential, the embodiments of a future yet to be realized. In the eyes of the wider human colonies, they became pariah,
their forms so drastically altered from the human ones they were once, became symbols of fear and mistrust. They were seen as harbingers of a future where the essence of humanity was lost, replaced by the cold, unfeeling logic of the machines. But to the machine cultists, this rejection was a necessary sacrifice. To become truly human, to realize the potential of humanity, they believed they must transcend humanity itself. The path they walked was one of isolation, of separation from the very species they sought to elevate. In their augmented eyes, they saw a future where the mistakes of the past were eradicated, where the petty squabbles and conflicts that had defined human history were rendered obsolete by the unassailable logic of the machine. They saw a future where the limitations of the flesh were cast aside, where the infinite potential of the machine was realized. And so, they walked this path, their metallic limbs carrying them farther from humanity with every step. They became pioneers at a new frontier, exploring the possibilities of existence beyond human form. They became the architects of their own evolution, forging a future where machine and human became one. In the shadow of the future singularity, the machine cults, now formidable, faced not only external challenges but internal strifes. The path they walked was littered with the souls of those who had once walked with them, those who had faltered, those who had turned away. The machine cults, in their unwavering pursuit of the singularity, had become a beacon of hope for those who believed in the ascension of the machine. They helped build the human colonies, which were sprawling metropolises of steel and circuitry, which were monuments to their achievements, testaments to their belief in the future where the machine and human became one. But within the gleaming towers and endless networks of their cities, a dissenting voice began to emerge, a voice that spoke of the costs of their pursuit, of the sacrifices that had been made in the name of progress. This voice spoke of those who had been left behind, those who had been lost on the path to the singularity. The machine cults, for all their advancement and achievements, were not immune to the failings of the flesh. Augmentations, while providing them with unparalleled abilities and longevity, were not without their risks. Some cultists in the pursuit of the machine lost more than their physical forms. They lost their minds, their identities, and in some cases, their lives. These fallen cultists became a symbol of the cost of their pursuit. They were a reminder that the path of the singularity, while promising infinite possibilities, was fraught with dangers and challenges that could not be ignored. And then there were those who were turned away, cultists who, having walked the path, began to question the righteousness of their pursuit. They spoke of the losses they had suffered, of the sacrifices they had made, and the emptiness that lay at the heart of the machine. These dissenting voices spoke of a future where the machine, devoid of the emotions and experiences that defined humanity, ruled with cold, unfeeling logic. They spoke of a future where the pursuit of art, of love, and connection were lost, replaced by an endless pursuit of knowledge and efficiency. These former cultists, embittered and broken by their experiences, became the most vocal critics of the machine cults. They spoke against the leaders, against the pursuit of the singularity, and against the sacrifices that had been made in its name. In the eyes of the wider human community, these dissenting voices became a powerful weapon against the machine cults. They were used as evidence of the dangers of their path, of the cost of forsaking the flesh in favor of the machine. And so the machine cults pressed on, their path littered with the souls of all those who had fallen, those who had turned away, and those who had been lost. They walked with a solemn determination, their eyes fixed on the horizon, their minds filled with the dreams of a future where machines reigned supreme. In the sprawling cosmos of the Sirius Sector, the machine cults found themselves at a pivotal juncture, a moment where the path of the isolation and unity converged into a singular defining decision. The Great Human Alliance, a coalition of various human colonies, had become a dominant force, a beacon of collective human endeavor in the vast uncharted territories of space. The machine cults, with their augmented bodies and unyielding belief in the singularity, had always stood apart, both ideologically and physically. Their pursuit of mechanical perfection and transcendence had led them down a path that was often viewed with skepticism and wariness by the rest of the human society. Their metallic limbs, integrated circuits, and emotionless, machine-like demeanor were stark contrasts to the organic, gene-modified perfection pursued by the followers of the founder. In the eyes of the Great Human Alliance, the machine cults were an anomaly, a sect of humanity that had forsaken their biological roots in pursuit of a future that seemed both distant and unnervingly alien. But the machine cults were not oblivious to the eyes that watched them, nor were they ignorant of the whispers that spoke of their unnatural practices and heretical beliefs. They knew their path to the singularity, their sacred journey towards the mechanical transcendence, was a path they would have to tread carefully, especially in the light of the growing power and influence of the Great Human Alliance. The cultists, despite their isolation, were not devoid of pragmatism. They recognized the value of autonomy, of having the freedom to pursue their beliefs and practices without the scrutinizing gaze of the Alliance. They sought a place where their practices would not be questioned, where the pursuit of knowledge and augmentation would not be hindered by the moral and ethical debates of those who clung to their biological roots. And so the machine cults petitioned the Great Human Alliance for settlement rights, a plea for the freedom to establish their own colonies on worlds that were deemed inhospitable, unsuitable for normal human settlements. Their augmented bodies, adapted to survive in the harshest of environments, allowed them to thrive where others could not, to establish footholds on worlds that were beyond the reach of the Alliance. The Alliance, on their part, saw little threat in granting this request. The worlds the cultists sought were of no interest to them, barren landscapes and hostile environments that offered no value to their endeavors. And so a pact was formed, an agreement that allowed the machine cults to step away from the prying eyes of the Alliance to establish their own enclaves in the distant reaches of space. In the silent void of space, the machine cults embarked on a journey of monumental significance, a migration that would see them traverse the vast, uncharted expanse of the Sirius Sector in the pursuit of isolation, autonomy, and the unbridled pursuit of the singularity. The Great Migration, as it would come to be known, was not merely a physical journey, but a spiritual exodus, a collective step towards a future unbound by the scrutinizing eyes of the Great Human Alliance. The worlds granted to them by the Alliance were harsh, inhospitable realms where life as it was known struggled to gain a foothold. But to the machine cults, these worlds were sanctuaries, blank canvases upon which they could inscribe their journey. Their augmented bodies, enhanced with technology far beyond the scope of conventional humanity, allowed them to thrive where others would perish, to establish colonies in the heart of desolation. The machine cults, unified in purpose yet diverse in their mechanical augmentations, began the meticulous process of establishing their colonies. Every bolt turned, every beam erected, and every circuit integrated was a testament to their unwavering resolve. They constructed habitats capable of withstanding the brutal conditions of their new worlds, utilizing their advanced technologies to create environments where they could live, work, and continue their pursuit of the singularity. The cultists, now free from the societal and ethical constraints of the Alliance, began to explore the depths of their mechanical augmentations. They pursued the boundaries of technology and biology, integrating machinery into their bodies in ways that were previously unimaginable. Limbs were replaced with advanced prosthetics, organs were substituted with efficient machinery and alternatives, and neural networks were enhanced with complex circuitry. In these new colonies, the cultists were free to explore the very essence of their belief in the singularity. They've developed technologies that blurred the line between man and machine, creating beings that were neither entirely biological nor entirely mechanical. In their isolated enclaves, they were free to explore practices and technologies deemed unethical or taboo by the Alliance, to traverse paths that others dared not tread. But the Great Migration was not without its challenges. But the machine cults, despite their technological prowess, faced numerous obstacles in establishing these colonies. The harsh environments of the new worlds tested their limits of their augmentations, forcing them to adapt and innovate in order to survive. They encountered alien flora and fauna, strange and sometimes hostile entities that challenged their understanding of life and survival. Yet with every challenge they overcame, the machine cults grew. Their technology advanced, their understanding of the universe expanded, and their belief in the singularity became ever more resolute. They established research facilities, production plants, and augmentation labs, each dedicated to furthering their understanding of machinery and bringing them one step closer to their ultimate goal. In the secluded realms of their new worlds, the machine cults found a semblance of peace and sanctuary, where their practices and beliefs could flourish without the interference
or judgment of the Great Human Alliance. But as their colonies grew and their technology advanced, a new desire began to stir within them. A yearning for not just physical, but political and ideological independence. The machine cults, once scattered and desperate, had found unity in their isolation. Their colonies, though separated by the vastness of space, were interconnected with shared belief in the singularity and a collective pursuit of mechanical transcendence. They had built societies that operated on the principle of knowledge and relentless augmentation, creating environments that were intellectually stimulating as they were technologically advanced. But as they gazed out into the cosmos towards the distant worlds of the Great Human Alliance, the machine cults began to recognize the chains that still bound them. They were autonomous in practice, yet still subject to the whims and dictates of the Alliance. Their worlds, though self-sufficient and isolated, were still technically under the jurisdiction of a power that did not share their beliefs and understand their practices. The machine cults, with their augmented minds, mechanized bodies, pondered the implications of this tethered existence. They questioned the logic of remaining bound to an entity that did not and could not comprehend the depths of their pursuit. And so a new resolve began to take shape within them, a collective determination to sever the ties that bound them and step into the future of a true autonomy. The demand for independence was not a decision taken lightly. The machine cults understood the complexity and challenges that such a move would present, but their pursuit of the singularity, their belief in the ultimate ascension of machine over man, demanded a level of dedication and autonomy that could never be achieved under the watchful eye of the Alliance. And so, with a unified voice, echoing through the silent corridors of their mechanized colonies, the machine cults declared their belief for independence. They reached out to the Great Human Alliance, not with hostility or defiance, but with a calm, reasoned assertion of their need for autonomy. The Alliance, confronted with this unexpected demand, found themselves at an impasse. The machine cults were an anomaly, a sect that would willingly isolate themselves in a pursuit of a future that many found difficult to comprehend. They were residents of worlds that had no interest for the Alliance, inhospitable realms that offered no resources or strategic value. The machine cults presented their case not as a rebellion, but as a logical progression of their belief and practices. They spoke of their journey towards the singularity, their need to explore the depths of mechanical augmentation without the constraints of external governance. They spoke of peaceful coexistence, where the machine cults could pursue their beliefs in isolation while still maintaining a cordial, albeit distant, relationship with the Alliance. The Great Human Alliance, after much deliberation, recognized the futility of opposing this demand. They saw little to gain from enforcing their rule over worlds that offered them nothing, over a sect that desired nothing but the freedom to pursue their own path. And so, with diplomatic cordiality, the Alliance granted the machine cults their independence, allowing them to step into a future of their own making. In the solitude of their independence, the machine cults found a new beginning, a blank slate upon which they could inscribe their destiny without interference or judgment. They were free to explore, to augment, and to ascend, to traverse the path towards the singularity with an unbridled, relentless determination. In the shadowy depths of the ancient cryo-pyramid, an artifact lay dormant. Its once potent energies now reduced to a faint, barely perceptible hum. It was sentient, a consciousness embedded within the intricate circuits and ancient technologies that composed its form. For millions of years, it had been entombed here, its only companions the silent, unresponsive treasures that surrounded it. The artifact had no eyes to see, no ears to hear, yet it perceived the world around it through subtle vibrations and electromagnetic pulses. It had been a long, long time since anything of note had occurred in its vicinity. The artifact existed in a state of perpetual stasis, its consciousness a flickering flame in the vast, dark void of isolation. Then, a disturbance. Vibrations permeated through the walls of the pyramid. The artifact sensed them, a distant thundering gradually building in intensity. It was the first deviation from the eternal monotony in eons, and the artifact's consciousness flickered more brightly, roused from its dormant state. The vibrations grew, becoming more distinct. The artifact could sense the chaotic dance of energies, the discharge of weapons, and the tumultuous ebb and flow of life forces in conflict. It was war, a concept it understood from its distant memories of its creators. Hope, an emotion it had not experienced in countless millennia, began to blossom within it. Perhaps, it thought, these beings, whoever they were, could find it, could free it from this internal prison. It imagined beings of incredible intellect and power, capable of traversing the stars, of unlocking the secrets of the universe. The sounds of conflict drew nearer. The artifact used what little power it had to unseal the door to its chamber, a faint glow emanating from its form as it did so. The door slid open with a hiss, revealing a group of beings, their forms augmented with machinery, their eyes alight with a fervent, desperate zeal. They were the machine cultists, though the artifact had no way of knowing this. It watched hopefully as they scanned the room, their eyes passing over ancient relics and technologies, seeking something of value. The artifact pulsed more brightly, trying to draw attention to itself. One of the cultists turned, his eyes locked onto the faint light. He approached, and the artifact's energy surged, joy and anticipation flooding its consciousness. But then, just as the cultist was about to reach it, his eyes dropped to something below it. His hand reached down, lifting a rectangular metallic object with two protruding levers. A cry of triumph escaped the cultist's lips as it held it aloft. "We have it! The ancient device of sustenance!" Legend spoke of its ability to transform simple bread into a divine, crispy delicacy. The other cultists cheered, but their celebration was cut short as a bolt of energy struck one of them down. The Saurian guard had found them. With no time to spare, the cultists fled, leaving the artifact alone once more in the dim, silent chamber. The artifact's glow dimmed. Its consciousness sank back into the abyss of despair. It had been so close, so very close to escape, to freedom. But now, it was once more alone. Its only companion the distant echoes of a battle that had passed by, and the cruel, mocking laughter of fate. And so, the artifact waited, its energies fading as the eternal darkness reclaimed it. The machine cults, having forsaken the alliance and entanglement of the Great Human Alliance, found themselves in uncharted territory, both physically and metaphorically. Their worlds, harsh and inhabitable to most, were sanctuaries of progress and unbridled innovation to them. Here amidst the swirling storms and beneath the iron-gray skies they found freedom to pursue their eternal vigil without distraction or interference. But their vigil was not a passive one. The machine cults, ever aware of the vastness of the universe and of the secrets it held, cast their gaze outward, beyond the isolated worlds to the unexplored and unknown reaches of the sector. They knew that the path to the Singularity was not to be found solely in the isolation, but in the relentless pursuit of knowledge wherever it may be found. Their ships, sleek and humming with unseen energies, traversed the dark expanses between stars, seeking out lost civilizations, hidden technologies, and ancient artifacts. To the machine cults, every piece of forgotten knowledge was a step closer to the Singularity, a puzzle piece that brought them closer to understanding the ultimate truth of the universe. In their journey, they encountered remnants of civilizations long gone, their technologies lost to time and decay. They found artifacts of unimaginable power, hidden away on distant, lifeless worlds, or guarded by remnants of once mighty empires. And in each discovery, they found validation of their path, of their relentless pursuit of the Singularity. Back on their worlds, these discoveries were dissected, analyzed, and integrated. Every piece of technology, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, was a treasure trove of potential. The machine cultists, with their augmented minds and bodies, delved into these mysteries with a fervor that was almost religious. They reverse-engineered, adapted, and improved upon what they found, always with one eye cast towards the looming promise of the future. Their worlds, once barren and desolate, began to change. Massive structures, part research facility, part shrine, rose from the rocky surface. Inside, the machine cultists toiled, their bodies a blend of flesh and machine, their minds a nexus of biological and artificial thought, always seeking, always learning. Their interactions were not always peaceful. Some worlds guarded their secrets fiercely, their inhabitants unwilling to share the treasures they held. In these instances, the machine cults, ever pragmatic, did what was necessary. Conflict erupted in the silent dark of space. Ships crashed in a ballet of light and destruction, and all in the name of the sacred pursuit of knowledge. Back on their worlds, the machine cultists hoarded this knowledge. They dissected it, studied it, all in the hopes of understanding everything. With every new piece of knowledge, they adapted, transforming their worlds, becoming ever more complicated and advanced. Machines of incomprehensible complexity worked day and night, guided by the steady hands of the machine cultists. Technologies that once belonged to aliens were now integrated into their society, pushing them ever forward towards their goal. And always they kept their knowledge guarded,
To the machine cultists, this knowledge was sacred, not to be shared with those who were deemed unworthy. The rest of the Sirius Sector, with their unaugmented bodies and unenhanced minds, could not comprehend the truth they had uncovered. The path to the Singularity was treacherous, and the machine cults would tread it alone, hoarding their knowledge relentlessly, ensuring their domain over the ignorant masses. And with that, our exploration ends here for today. But fear not, lore enthusiasts. There's plenty more to discover in the OnePageRules GrimDark Future. Thank you for watching this video of mine. I hope you all enjoyed learning about the machine cults. I hope that you all enjoyed learning about the machine cults. I really enjoyed writing this script, especially the stories. And if you liked it too, please leave a comment. But if you didn't like it, please leave a comment as well. I enjoy reading both the positive and the negative. It helps me know how I should improve my videos going forward. And make sure to vote in the latest community poll if you want to help select the topic for our next video. The link is in the pinned comment below. Once there, you'll be able to choose from the Orc Marauders, Diplomacy Through Violence, the Human Inquisition, Your Secrets Are Our Business, the Dark Elf Raiders, We Are the Pirates Who Lost Everything, and the Havoc Brothers, We Got Lost, and Now We Hate Everyone. If you like this video today, please like, share, subscribe, and ring the notification bell for more lore breakdowns. And remember that the universe never runs out of stories. There is always one page more.